I want to now shift it to some gentlemen who don't feel like they want to be vegans. And this is interesting because one is Dr. Jordan Peterson, who's very famous around the world. He's got a great book called 12 Rules for Life. He's been a guest here at London Real. Very well respected for his ideas about the world and about how people should step up and kind of own their life. He went on the carnivore diet, I think about 2 years ago, and his health completely changed. Before that, he was suffering from a lot of autoimmune diseases, bleeding gums, insomnia, all sorts of other things that made him feel horrible. When he went to a carnivore-based diet, and both him and his daughter are on that now, a lot of that stuff just completely melted away. Now, some of the plant-based people would say, yeah, Brian, that's because he was eating the wrong things like gluten and all these other things, and now he's just not eating the wrong things. It's not the meat that's helping him. And when I mentioned this to Neil Barnard and to Dr. Michael Greger, they said, Brian, that's ridiculous. It's all meat. That never can be healthy. But again, some people are happy with this. And just go to Instagram, #carnivore-diet. I just did it. And there's all these people posting the positives. But again, we probably need long-term clinical trials that aren't funded by people that have interests in the results. So there's a lot of studies funded by meat, funded by alcohol companies, funded by cigarette makers. And funny enough, those studies oftentimes give results that are favorable to the people that are funding those studies. So we need to look at this more. Timothy Shieff, you've seen on London Real, I think 5 times at this point. Timothy used to be known as the Vegan Prince. And here's a little real deal. I used to invite Timothy to my Thanksgiving celebration at my home every year, and Timothy would straight up blank me, would just ghost me. And at first I thought he was, just being a dick, and then I realized, oh, it's because I'm killing a bird and he doesn't want to eat it, right? Either that or he just didn't like me, I don't know. But for the longest time, he was the Vegan Prince. He would bring fruit over, and he's like, Brian, you got it all wrong. About 18 months ago, Timothy changed his point of view, and he said, no, Brian, I actually don't think this is right. I think this is a complete cult. I think it's a way of doing things. I don't think people are thinking this through. And his own health was suffering. Now, look, there's a lot of debate around Timothy Shieff. Some people say, but wait a second, you're a ninja warrior, and you were vegan during that, so you obviously are performing. But Timothy's saying, I wasn't at my best, and I've never felt that way. And once I brought back in animal products, I started to feel better. So again, this is a lot of debate here, and I want to put these ideas out there to get your feedback. Here's a short clip about Tim Shieff talking about his entire journey, talking about the spiritually aligned power of veganism, but also talking about his own health.
And then on the day, on the show, my agility comes through and a lot of hanging. But there's a moment when I couldn't jump the bar. I couldn't do like 5 pull-ups.
Why? Why couldn't you?
I couldn't train. My muscles were snapping. They were like, like you get an old rubber band.
Yeah.
And you pull it and you're like, wait, and it's going to snap at some point. It could be any time, like within half a second it could snap. It felt like that in my muscles. I would get injured doing yoga. I would have injuries for months on end.
During yoga?
Yeah,
doing yoga. You shouldn't be injured by.
I'd go to easy classes and I'd get these injuries. I couldn't do anything.
What's your diet like then? Like mixed?
Then or now?
No, then when you were having those problems.
I tried, so I went I was whole food plant-based. I tried raw, and with these diets, with fruitarian or raw, I'd feel way more sort of spiritually aligned, and I could channel and speak philosophically and flow really well.
Right.
But the body felt so airy, and there was no sort of chi in it. There was no power in it, and I was shutting down. My spine was becoming calcified. I'd have like bleeding, itchy anus, and like toenail fungus was like really overgrowing. It was just some nasty.
That's horrible, nasty stuff, right? And look, there's a lot of people that agree and disagree with Timothy Shieff because he's been in both camps. He's been in the vegan camp for a while. Before that, he was in the meat-eating camp, and now he's back into a meat-eating and dairy-consuming camp. So again, very polarizing, but I'd love to hear your thoughts, so type them in the chat. Are you a plant-based? Are you a meat-based person? Do you like to mix it up? How do you feel about that whole debate? There's some great comments coming in here. I got Nick K saying vegans can point to dozens of examples of pro athletes who excel as vegans. Carnists troll about masculinity from behind their anonymous YouTube accounts. You might be referring to the movie Game Changers, which came out recently. And again, I've watched, and Dr. Michael Greger and Dr. Neil Barnard were advisors on that movie. And again, they put a lot of athletes up and say, look, they're the best. A lot of people point and say, wait a second, none of those people are actually Olympic gold medals or actual world champions. They're just a few vegans that you threw out there. One guy says he's a strongman. One of them is a sprinter from down under that looks good, but where's the science? And I see there's a lot of people saying that, and they have some points. So I appreciate that, Nick. Duke says, look, he's laughing out loud at the vegan doctor. He's only been eating meat for 8 months, and I'm healthier than ever. So there's someone on the carnivore diet, and it's working out for that. Travis says, real men don't eat meat. Real men have compassion and empathy for other living creatures and do everything they can do to limit their suffering. I see where you're coming from. Using the term real men always seems like you're trying to shame me into do something, so I don't know about that, but I appreciate the thought. One thing about the Game Changers I thought was good is that it kind of dispelled the myth that real men have to eat meat, and I think that's a ridiculous thing. Real men should just be real men, right? Make the intelligent choices, be who you should be, lead, make informed decisions, and all that stuff. But look, these are great things as well. Also, Nicholas Hanley says a plant-based diet equals bad digestion. Interesting. I definitely had some gut challenges when I was plant-based. John Broadway says, take a look at vegans. They're all sick and unhealthy and malnourished. Not really true. There are some, but I mean, guys like John Joseph and Rich Roll and others, they're doing pretty good. Michael Greger looks pretty good.
At London Real, we believe that individual transformation can change the world. Join us and start your journey today.